Good morning. It's Dr. David Crocker with Solutions by Dr. Dave, and today's random topic will be the stages of learning. And a lot of these topics I'm choosing because they're essentially practical life hacks, and I think you'll find that with a lot of the topics that I address here is that they they all are going to have a certain practical application to them. And I think that's um, elegant when something is both interesting, fun, and practical. I guess that's three. So, the stages of learning, and this is something that I was exposed to this idea when I was in medical school. It's not my idea, but I found it to be quite accurate and somewhat enlightening. I think it's helpful in that it gives perspective, particularly when you're setting out to learn something that's new and complex. New complex skills and tasks require time and dedication and earnestness, I suppose would be the word. But you'll find that when you've committed yourself to something monumental in terms of the effort required, you often go in with idealistic expectations, which are, of course, it's necessary to have idealism, otherwise you might not ever get started on anything. But the first stage of learning a new complex task is essentially the state of not knowing, but not knowing that you don't know. And, it's just that ignorance of what you don't know stage. And until you really dive into something, you really don't know what you don't know about it. And the Terence McKenna had a quote, and I think I'm paraphrasing here, but the larger you build the bonfire, the more darkness is revealed. And I think that's quite pertinent when it comes to, again, taking on new complicated tasks. The second stage of learning is the I don't know and I know that I don't know. So as you discover all of the new nuances and tangents and how deep the rabbit hole goes when you break off a new project, suddenly you start to realize how little you actually know about it. This is a critical stage because when you think you know everything, of course, you don't learn very well. And so this is part of the breaking down stage of learning something new, is letting go of the idea that you already know it. And so that's this stage, and this can be applied, I'm applying this to medical school, but it could be applied to your spiritual practice. It could be applied to, any anything really that you want to really pour yourself into. So again, the stage of recognizing that you don't know everything is opening. It opens you to the new, right? If you're really out to learn, then you don't already know. And so you have to be open to the new. And that is one of the bigger challenges in terms of human nature, I believe, is truly being open, right, without carrying too much of your own baggage into situations. So the third phase of learning is where you know, but you don't know that you know. And this is, this comes after you've kind of surrendered to the idea that you don't know. And so you've embarked on the long process of gathering information from all the different teachers and sources that you have available to you. And so you're plugging along. Usually this is a fairly long phase of the learning process. You've kind of settled into the work, if you will, of learning. And there'll be a time in that, and of course you won't recognize it until it's in the rearview mirror, that you've actually become quite competent at the new task, but you really just haven't woken up to that yet. And again, this can be a very long phase of the learning process. But again, necessary and rewarding in its own way. And then the fourth phase, of course, is the stage of early expertise, where you know, and you know that you know, right? And you know that through having spoken to a lot of people, having addressed the topic from a lot of different angles, having the idealism having been worn off perhaps to some degree, and you've kind of settled into the sober reality of the task that you've undertaken. And hopefully at this stage you still love what you do, but again, you've come through the woods. You've come, in the beginning, you didn't know, but you didn't know that you didn't know. And that's not that different psychologically than knowing that you know. So it's a different tonally, certainly, and a different practically speaking, but it has a certain similar feel to it. It's like going through the innocence of youth, and then working your way through the forest, so to speak, and then recognizing through wisdom that innocence is the ultimate wisdom on the other side. So that's my little theme for today. I hope that's interesting, if not useful. I think, again, above all, it can give you a little perspective when you've embarked on a very, how should I say, monumental task, right? Something that has meaning in your heart, I would assume, or you would never have undertaken it. So enjoy your day, peace, and I love you guys. Bye.